Tour Junkies.
What's going on, everybody? It is the week after a major. It's just one of those weeks. It's always a little bit of a struggle. You know what I mean? But the good news is Pat can drink again. So here we are, live on YouTube for those watching. Cheers to you, and for those listening. We've got Pat back, and buddy, how is the vertebrae doing? How's your situation going?
It's doing much better. Still haven't started the PT yet. The PT starts on Thursday, bright and early.
Okay.
But yeah, doing good. Don't think I'll be on the golf course here for another couple weeks. Just gonna lay low and see how it goes. But so far, so good. It's been all the stuff they've given me has helped. And excited to be back on the Tito's again. Maybe we'll hit Tito's. Maybe we'll hit Planet Tito's tonight. We don't know.
Did I hit Planet Tito's last week? I don't really remember.
You did. Yes.
Yeah, I did come up here though, and just now to my spot where I normally record, and I found a lot of chips on the table.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really remember having a whole lot of chips, but yeah, I had a lot of chips on the table.
Yeah,
not poker chips. Not poker chips.
No, potato chips. That was during the TJ After Dark show for DraftKings. Yeah. You were eating chips the entire time.
Yeah, now it's coming back to me.
Yeah, but it was a good show.
It was a great week. A wonderful chunk and run segment. I feel like our chunk and run last week was pretty good. I think mine especially was funny. Yours wasn't as funny, and I guess you didn't think mine was all that funny because you didn't laugh a whole lot when I checked the tape on YouTube.
Yeah, you did. You called me out on that. It
just hurts my feelings. Every now and then I want you to laugh at me. I want a little giggle. I want some kind of feedback to let me know, that this is going okay.
Well, I mean, it kind of hurt my back to laugh. I won't blame it on that. And sometimes the Tito's helps with humor.
It makes me funnier. Is that how it
works?
It
makes you funnier.
Well, it was a fantastic week. It was the Open Championship. Royal Portrush was an absolute star, I think. Yeah, like I mentioned, great show. There's so much to talk about. I mean, this week we've got the WGC FedEx St Jude from TPC Southwind in Memphis, Tennessee, of course. And we're going to get to that. We've got our DraftKings picks. We've got our sports betting picks. We've even got I've got some sports betting bookie selections for the Barracuda, which is the alternate field event going on this week in Reno, Nevada. But we've got a great chunk and run tonight. But I think there's so many storylines on the Open Championship that I feel like we need to talk about. So I think, first of all, in fairness, you got to talk about Shane Lowry. You got to talk about him. The Irishman winning the Open at Portrush. Shane seems like a likable lad. A likable lad indeed. I loved seeing the celebration that he had last night. More on that to come, possibly in the chunk and run. But the beer and Guinness was flowing. The Irish whiskey and Scotch was likely flowing as well. I guess that's not technically Irish, but anyway, it was good, man. He held on to his lead. He did his thing. I mean, any thoughts on our champ? Our champion golfer of the year.
Champion golf of the year. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it was pretty incredible how he kept it together for all 4 days. He had to sleep on the lead, every single night. I even read somewhere where his constant worry was the shanks, which, by the way, Henrik Stenson had a great shank on Sunday. Yeah. But anyway,
I hear when you get older, that tends to become a problem, worrying about the shanks.
Yeah, well, it happens to me. But just happy for Lowry, happy for Ireland. I mean, the whole week was fantastic when you look at just the course being, on a new course in Royal Portrush, or I say new course, it's been like 60 years or whatever since they played there. Northern Ireland, and then you get an Irish winner, and the way he celebrated too was just awesome. You knew it was going to be epic. I mean, there's no way that, an Irish winner, on a course in Ireland cannot just go out and style. Like, it needs to be all week. I guess he is playing in the WGC this week. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he's worth.
See.
I mean, how would you and I do if we won our, my member guest or something? I'm not sure we'd do too good. Yeah, I'm not at all comparing winning the Open to my member guest, but to me, it's a major. At my place, I feel like we would celebrate just as much as Mr. Lowry did.
It would be a great celebration. But anyway, happy for him. I did not have any of them in any of my lineups, so that didn't help me. I had a lot of 5 of 6 lineups, which turned out okay, not great, but happy for Lowry. Good week.
Yeah. I had a little bit of Lowry in DFS. I came on to him late. Had him written down to talk about on the podcast, and when I had to narrow down the 3 picks in the 7K range, I slashed him. But no excuse, all right? But there's plenty of other things to talk about. I mean, Rory making an 8 on the first hole of play on Thursday, finishing 8 over for the day, and then coming back and missing the cut by a nose hair and playing the way that he played on Friday. And then the emotional interview after, which I think is, I don't know. I don't know that we've seen that in Rory before. He's always a great interviewee. He's always honest and candid, which I love about Rory. But, I mean, welling up with tears, like you could tell it actually meant something to him, which sometimes I feel like I got a question with Rory. But, man, great to watch him battle that out. I hated to see him miss it, but it is what it is. Do you have any thoughts on the Rory thing?
Yeah, pretty disappointed. Obviously, you knew I had him as one of my plays last week, and I loved him. And you gotta respect the fight that he had, coming back after what he did on Thursday and shooting 65 on Sunday. I mean, on Friday, and it really could have been. I mean, he made a few other mistakes too, where he really could have made the cut. But I was impressed with how he handled himself after the interview. It was, I think very reflective of who he is, and he means a lot to the golfing world. And I think this week showed him too, even missing the cut, how much his country pulls for him. I mean, they were out there, in droves on Friday pulling for the guy. You saw tweets from like JT and others out there that were just talking about how much they looked up to him. So I think there was a lot of pressure on him going into that tournament. That start was just absolutely ridiculous. I just can't. That hole, the out of bounds on that hole, by the way, was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen out of bounds.
That would have sucked for me. I literally would have walked to the first tee and just been like, hey, I got a question. If we want to speed this thing up, where is my nearest point of relief? Like where I don't have to. Are you going to make me re-tee? I guess they had to re-tee. It's a white stake. Did you hear about why it was out of bounds?
I think it was something to do with they didn't own the land or something when they built the course, something like that.
So it was actually kind of to pay homage. Yeah, like they didn't own the land in the previous Open, and so they had to make it out of bounds. They didn't own the strip of land between 1 and 18. So on one side of it, they had to make it out of bounds. And then like just the R&A being awesome, which I think they're awesome. And I love the way they process things in golf, way better than the USGA. But just being awesome, decided, you know what, we're gonna like pay homage to the first Open that we had here and make it out of bounds. So hit it straight or deal with it. Like I loved it. I again, personally, I would walk to the tee and go, all right, I'm gonna look at my caddy and go, so what's the plan after we take a double here? Because unless I'm putting it off the tee, there's no way.
See, and that's what I think a lot of people don't, when you're just viewing golf and you haven't actually been on the course to see what it's like, to step out on that first tee and see what it's like. You and I have been lucky enough to do it at the National and see what it's a whole different ballgame there. You can miss left and right, and there's plenty of room on most of the holes. But I wonder what it looked like stepping up on that first tee, even as a pro, and seeing that out of bounds so close. It had to have been, pretty intimidating. And we saw it happen. I mean, you also had some unlucky stuff. Like I think it was Ricky Fowler who took a out of bounds because it hit a fan and then went out of bounds from there or something like that. So there was some crazy stuff. JB Holmes went out
Yeah,
of
but who
bounds.
cares about that?
Yeah, that 87 was beautiful. That was a
So
beautiful 87.
you brought it up. That's a great transition, a segue, as they say in the biz there, Pat. JB, who shot, I believe, like 60, some combination of 66, 68, 69, 87, as the second to last group. The second to last group on Sunday finished third to last by the end of the golf tournament, almost DFL. And not only did he just do that, but he did it at the slow skis pace. Remember that? Remember the Comcast commercials with the turtles? They were the slow skis. It's just so miserably slow, and you had the Brooks pairing, who we could talk about him for a whole podcast and all of his stuff before the Open and the press conference about I don't practice, like when you guys see me on TV is when I'm playing golf. Like we could get into the psyche of all that, which as a Brooks homer and lover, I actually didn't enjoy hearing all that, but I don't want to get into that. The Brooks and JB pairing, him walking off the course or walking off the green early because JB's going through his freaking process, plumb bobbing his way to a 90. And then the comments after that I did think would be a little more electric coming. I thought he would be a little more red coming off that 18th green and give us a little better soundbite. But he basically said, the guy's just not ready to play when it's his shot. His glove's not on. He's not doing the things that you can do before you get into your pre-shot routine, which makes him slow. But then he went ahead and said, hey, but there's a lot of guys that do that out here. But clearly, Brooks and JB were not a good pairing on Sunday. And JB just isn't making any friends. And you know what? Like, I was thinking about this. I hate it because I'm a fast player. I was playing with my son. Who's 8 years old, loves playing golf. I played 36 holes with him this weekend. And I have seen how, since I have taught him the game, I am proud of the fact, not that he swings like me, because he swings better than me. His golf swing is better than me. I literally cried last night looking at the positions that he gets into during the golf swing that I don't get into in my golf swing. But the thing that I am proud of is that my pace of play has through osmosis, because I haven't taught him this, has just been delivered onto him. And I am glad that he will never be a JB Holmes kind of kid. Like, he's not going to freaking overthink it. He's not going to overcook it. He's going to be ready when it's his turn. And I think that's something that if you're a parent and you have a kid playing the game, you need to teach them. Because this crap it makes you not like the guy. I'm driving down the road yesterday. I'm like, why do I hate JB Holmes? I bet he's a nice guy. He's a Southern boy. Of course, we're Southern boys. Like, he's probably a very polite individual. He's probably a nice, dude with a family. And like, I got no other reason to dislike him but my disdain for the slow play and the lack of awareness, the lack of awareness that he seems to have for the people he plays with, the competitors around him, and what it does to play so damn slow. It just makes me go over the edge with I go from like every reason in the world to like him to just like I can't stand him.
I agree. I mean, the thing about JB is just, I think that's the one thing I think about too, is that he could be just a great guy. It's just he's always been slow. And I'm a pretty fast player too. I mean, you've played with me. I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Shocking. And it's as old as you are. You're slow at everything else, y'all. If you only knew how long it takes Pat to get ready. My wife gets ready. My wife is a smoke show. My wife gets ready light years faster than Pat. If only you knew that just once he gets out of the shower, and there's the hair process, which look at his hair. He barely has any hair. But the hair process of blow drying and the numerous brushing exercises, he brushes, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching me, he brushes the side of his head 1,000 times. It is maddening. I can't believe you play golf as fast as you do, but I greatly appreciate it. And if you didn't, I honestly don't think I would have you as a member guest partner. I would just be like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I would go get somebody else. But anyway, I digress.
Well, I mean, again, it's like get back to JB. It's it's being prepared up to your shot, not like getting to your shot and then all of a sudden starting your thought process. I mean, I'm starting it. Once I hit my 230-yard drive out there, and I know I've got a five. I'm probably gonna have a 5-iron into the green. I mean, I don't know, so I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna figure it out.
It's a short walk for you to that shot.
Yeah,
or short drive, whatever.
But again, I mean, it's just, and we see this though a lot, and you can't. I mean, Brooks can't ask for his pairing on a Sunday because it just is what it is. But it is amazing what it can do for golfers when they get paired with the wrong people. Like I can remember Kiz in the PGA Championship when we were watching, a few years ago when he was in contention and he got paired with Jason Day, just how it just threw him off. And in this way, it obviously threw JB off in a bad way for him, because I wonder if he was thinking about like the whole time, like, I know Brooks is just.
I don't know that
Brooks
he is. I don't know.
Yeah,
that he
I
is. Now here's the other thing. Like I can't rectify in my own brain is, so this is like David's on the couch right now with all the listeners and Pat. I love Patrick Cantlay, but Patrick Cantlay stands over the ball for forever. And maybe I don't. Maybe it's the pre-address stuff that I don't. I don't like all the pre-address stuff. I don't like the plumb bobbing, the slow. I don't like the walking up and then addressing your ball or your putt and then coming back and then going up and then coming back. I don't like any of that. Like, because I feel like Cantlay's not as slow before he steps into the shot. Then when he steps into the shot, he just stands over it forever.
It's slow.
But in my mind, I love Patrick Cantlay.
These are not going to change, though. Cantlay is not going to change. J.B. Holmes is not going to change. You will not change their process now, as far along as they are in their careers, as at where they are. They're not going to change because Cantlay's pretty damn good, and he's doing it the way he's doing it. So, like, I think going back to what you started with, where it changes is with the kids that are playing golf these days. And we see it, though, at like the NCAA championships. If you've watched that on Golf Channel, they're slow. The college kids are slow. So,
dude, what is wrong with if my boy ever plays college golf, he's gonna disrupt some folks. Like, he might go off on a kid. I just can't stand that. I can't stand seeing these kids come out of college playing like that.
I'm just telling you. I don't know what changes. I don't know what changes it. I really don't. I think it's just something that's going to be annoying that people are going to have to deal with. Now, I do think the way you change it on tour is you actually call
penalize them.
Nobody does it.
On Thursday, one of my favorite tweets of the week, and I honestly feel like, by the way, thank you to everybody watching on YouTube and commenting right now. We're getting a ton of support. Apparently, a lot of our YouTube followers also follow us on Twitter and saw a couple of douche lords that commented on and they're all telling us how we may need to screw that guy. So thank you, Cliff and Nick and all these guys. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I feel like I had a tremendous week on Twitter. By the way, I feel like DB did a great job on Twitter. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
Pat yourself, yeah.
Some great Twitter moments on Thursday. I think I had one of the best tweets of the week. I went ahead and did a little callback tweet of Andy King from Fire Festival, the guy who was ready to pleasure or orally pleasure a gentleman in exchange for some water for the Fire Festival. The meme that just went viral a couple months ago. I used that to say I was going to send him in to get to the RNA to time Bryson, because I was watching Bryson live on Thursday, and he's being slow. Now, I can't stand Bryson for many reasons more than just his slow play. But Bryson is a perfect example. I remember Bryson playing in college and watching him play the NCAAs and thinking how slow he was. It drives me nuts. And the penalization, that just needs to happen, but I don't know what it's going to take. Anyway, let's move on from the JB slow play thing. You had Xander Schauffele with his equipment issue. And Pat, I know you have dove deep into this article, probably even for the first time in years, went down the physics wormhole, trying to figure out how you can enhance the trampoline effect on your own driver, because that's apparently what was measured, the CT, which I'm not really sure that is in specific terms, but I do know that it measures the trampoline effect of the driver face was illegal for Xander Schauffele. The RNA apparently released that information, which they're not supposed to do. That's violation number 1. But also we learned that they randomly picked 30 golfers of the 150-something that competed and found 4 of them, including Xander Schauffele, the other 3 of which we don't know, were in violation. So there's all this talk about equipment companies and is Xander a cheater, all this stuff, which he's not. No. But the process here, any thoughts on that, or have you really just been consumed with trying to enhance the trampoline effect on your driver to maybe squeeze out, go from 230 to 238 off the tee?
Yeah, here's the thing. First off, being labeled a cheater on tour is pretty damning. Sung Kang is a cheater.
Yes, he is.
Okay, Xander Schauffele is not a cheater. Okay, I don't care what the trampoline effect is. I don't even know how they measure the damn thing. But there's a lot of people these guys are in tour trucks and the Callaway truck and whatever else every single week, always trying to, tweak their stuff to get it as best as they possibly can. I don't think you could. I feel like I heard some people comparing this to like NASCAR, like trying to cheat, where like they tweak the car just to try to bend the rules. That's not the case here. I just don't think it's that. These guys are there to like.
Here's the question, because I've heard both sides, and I'm trying to think of a good comeback here. So as a tour player, I completely understand that you don't really see it as your job to know whether your equipment is conforming or not. I get that. Like Xander's like, dude, his response is like, I just get the clubs that they give me and I go out and hit the ball. Like my job is to perform. He sees it as their job to make sure it's conform. But then I hear other sides of the argument that say, well, if it's your job and the equipment is a integral part to you doing your job well, and ultimately the penalty and the consequence lies on you, not on the guy in the truck, not on the guy in the equipment trailer, why is it not your responsibility to know that your equipment is conforming or not conforming? How would you answer that question?
Well, I would probably answer it to say that, when you have a team of folks around you, somebody like Xander, or, the bigger players on tour, like a Brooks Koepka or whoever, you are trusting the folks that are around you to provide you with the best equipment, to put it out there. You're in charge of practicing golf and hitting shots. And I just don't think that you should have that sort of thought process where you're going to add on to that. So he's supposed to get out on the driving range and test his drive. Like before he gets into practices and doing whatever, he needs to go and use whatever testing tool they have. And what tool are they using anyway? Like how are they doing that? I don't know.
I just had a thought.
It's just like he's supposed to get out there and say, all right, bring out the whatever, the TrackMan 35,000 that tells me what the trampoline effect is, so I can make sure every single tour event I'm not, I'm conforming here. I think that's asking too much of a player.
Can you imagine? So one of the things that he was in violation of is the CT, and I can't remember what it stands for. But again,
brings into my mind is the whole CT, like concussions and stuff.
That's CTE.
Whatever. It's the first two.
But basically, it measures the amount of time, milliseconds, that a golf ball is on the face when it makes contact. So it's measuring trampoline effect. The longer it's on the face, the more trampoline effect it has, right?
Of course, yes, because that's like a spring. It's like
the maximum number is 257. Xander's was 258. Okay, it's literally like the smallest amount of time greater, right? But can you imagine if players had to manage their own standards of equipment? Can you imagine DJ and Austin, his brother? Can you imagine DJ on the range talking to Austin about the CT or the trampoline effect on his driver? And I just had this mental picture of DJ at some point just being like, awesome. I can't play.
Austin, we gotta switch out the driver. We're at 2.585.
The dude would be hitting persimmons just to avoid having to do the math and do all the calculations. He'd be hitting persimmons and be ranked like 90th in the world, being just fine, making 300 G's a year on on tour. He'd still probably hit a persimmon like 280. He'd be just fine. He'd be like Wesley Bryan out there playing golf. Anyway,
All this being said, if I could find one of these spring-loaded drivers.
So, I actually figured, I was thinking about that for you today. I was like, man, my boy Pat, if there's anything I could gift him, it would be a greater trampoline effect on his driver. And it says that, and this is the other thing that's crazy about it, is golf manufacturers admit that the more, that is minimum as 100, this is an article in Golf Week or Golf Magazine or golf.com or whatever wrote about it. A minimum of 100 center face shots can affect the CT. So just 100 shots in the middle of the club face can take that CT from legal to illegal, which is a whole nother ball game in measuring this. So I'm thinking you don't have a whole lot of center hits because you hit it on the toe so much.
No.
If you want to let
I need a used driver. I need a used driver.
Well, I was gonna say, or just take your driver and let's give it to Kiz or John Tillery or somebody we know, Travis Fulton, somebody we know in the business that we know can find the center of the club face. Let him whack it around 100 times or so, and give it back to you. Then maybe the trampoline effect extends to the toe.
Does it still? Yeah, I was about to say, does it?
I don't know if it extends to the toe.
Yeah.
We'll have to tweet Bryson and find out if he knows if it extends to the toe. We're getting a Twitter YouTube question. Why do you guys hate DJ? I don't hate DJ. I really don't. I hate Bryson DeChambeau. I'm strongly disliking JB Holmes, but DJ, he's just so stupid. I love to make fun of him, and it's all on me. Pat does not make fun of him near to the effect I do. I've already come to the realization he will never be a guest on this podcast because A, I don't think he would if I were saying the nicest things in the world about him, and B, I just don't, even if he was, I don't think it'd be a great interview. I just feel like DJ is as dumb as a lot of times he appears to be, and so I just enjoy making fun of him and thinking about it. Characteristic time, that's what it's called. Brent on YouTube tells us characteristic time is the measurement. Which what does that even mean?
We have some
characteristic time. What? How do I even? Who made that up? Oh God. Anyway, that's that. The Open is what it is in terms of how we did. I did think that we had a decent week. My cash picks, by the way, absolutely crushed it. I gave you 3 cash plays: Jon Rahm, Hendrik Stenson, and Patrick Reed, the sneaky play. Rahm finished 11th. Stenson with a horrible Sunday, and the Shank and the Snap Club finished 20th. Patrick Reed finished 10th. Your cash picks, both, you only made 2, also made the cut. Patrick Cantlay, Webb Simpson. I was on Tommy Fleetwood. We were both on Justin Rose, both big fans of Jon Rahm, both like Patrick Reed. You had a little Webb Simpson action. Those were some highlights. Low lights would be my Ian Poulter, Andy Sullivan play. Obviously, Adam Scott beat everyone's head in last week. I can't even imagine how that guy missed the cut. We faded DJ, which was a big call. Finished 51st. I faded Bryson, missed the cut. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing that. Faded the U.S. Open champ Gary Woodland. He missed the cut. You faded Paul Casey, finished 57th. Garcia finished 67th. Those were all good fades. So all in all, not a bad week for us, bud. The FGS article also was fairly decent too. What is that? I don't even know what that is. The Fantasy Golf, the FGS article that I write every week. I don't read that garbage. The Chalk Bomb was nails. Hideki Matsuyama was owned on average of 15%. And a lot of tournaments he was. Let's go back here. Oh. F you, by the way. I put a lot of time in that damn article. I'm just kidding, man. I read it. It was about Irish whiskey. You were asking people to send in some Irish whiskeys because you didn't have enough time to do research on real Irish whiskeys. The picks were good. You had Reed in there. You had Xander in there. Those were nice. It was a good call. Good stuff, man. Of course I read it. You know I read all your stuff, man. But you just want to get to the Chalk Bomb because the Chalk Bomb was nails. Ben nailed it. Hideki 30% owned in a lot of high stakes events. Listen, the Chalk Bomb is money. If you're not subscribed to the Chalk Bomb, you need to be. It's free. It's an email that hits your inbox every Wednesday night. If you're playing DFS, if you're betting on golf in any way, shape, or form, one and done, whatever, Ben breaks it down in very intelligent ways. He's like the Bryson DeChambeau of this operation. He's way smarter than us, way more likable than Bryson, but way smarter than us. Our boy Ben Little breaks it down. So you can subscribe to that. If you go to tourjunkies.com, on the bottom right of every page on the website, there's a little chalk bomb graphic there, and you can all you gotta do is put in your email address, and boom, you are in the chalk bomb. We'll get it to you every Wednesday night. It's the best free piece of content you can have. Nick on YouTube says you can literally see Pat's heart break when David bashed the FGS article. He's so disappointed.
Say that.
I think all right. Let's get into this week, Pat. So we got 2 events this week. We've got the WGC FedEx St Jude, which is now, it's a weird thing. It's the WGC used to be at Firestone. Now it's at TPC Southwind, and TPC Southwind used to just be the host site for the FedEx Cup or FedEx St Jude, which was just a normal, regular, run-of-the-mill week field PGA Tour event, typically held the week before the Open Championship. So still got the WGC event, but at a different venue, kind of a mix here. But also you have the alternate field event, which is going on, as we mentioned, in Reno, Nevada for the Barracuda. And it is a modified Stableford event, which is a totally different scoring. Andrew Putnam is your defending champion there. And the only reason I mention that is, and we're not going to talk a lot about it. I don't believe DraftKings or any other DFS sites have any DFS for that particular event because of the scoring system. But you can bet on it, and I actually think it's a pretty good event to bet on. Here's what you've got for this week, mainly this week at the Barracuda, but then next week at the Wyndham. This is going to come into play. We are right around the corner from the FedEx playoffs. We've got 3 events in the FedEx playoffs. So next week is the Wyndham Championship, which is the final event of the regular season. And then if you are not in the top 125 in the FedEx Cup standings after next week, you are not making the FedEx Cup playoffs, and you are also going to be battling to retain your PGA Tour card and status on the PGA Tour. So it's a big deal. This is the time of year where these guys' livelihood starts to kind of come in, hang in the balance if you're, just inside that 125 number or just outside that 125 number. And there's a lot of guys playing in the Barracuda that are looking at those FedEx Cup points that they can get at the Barracuda to give themselves a little more cushion. And then there's a couple playing in the WGC. But for the most part, the guys at the WGC are pretty safe and sound in terms of FedEx Cup points. But I do think that is something to look at. So I made some notes on the Barracuda of a few guys that I like that I would like to bet on for the Barracuda. Pat, is that okay if we talk Barracuda real quick, just from a betting perspective? Do you have any bets for the Barracuda?
I do. I have a couple that I've listed for the Barracuda.
Great. Well, any additional things you would say for the Barracuda, and then want to deliver your picks for the people?
No, I mean, I think that, I don't mind actually, by the way, having a Stableford event. I think it's kind of cool. I think one of the things you're going to look for in that kind of, with the points is definitely scores. I mean, you want those guys that are hitting those birdies, hitting those eagles, because that's where you're getting all your points. So you're definitely going to want to. It's going to be a pretty low scoring event. Low scoring, high points. So, are we giving picks right now, or are we waiting on that?
For the Barracuda, let's go.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a couple that I like as far as the odds are concerned. I mean, I like some Sam Ryder at 40-1. I think he is a very good play this week. Guy can score like crazy, so I think he is one. Another guy that we've seen on tour who's I don't know, he pops up every once in a while. This is kind of a weird name, but at 50-1. Oh, Wes Roach. We've seen him play recently. Seen him play well.
A Wes Roach mention in the podcast?
Yeah, I'm giving you a Wes Roach mention.
Are you drinking moonshine tonight? What are we doing?
Yeah, just telling you. Just look out for him. Those are the 2 main ones I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I wasn't prepared to talk a ton of Barracuda. So.
Yeah, I'm not either. But I do agree with you. You need guys who can score. The Barracuda is all about eagles and birdies, baby. That's what you want. A lot of first-time winners here. I've got a handful here that I'm going to give you. Of course, all odds are courtesy of our friends at mybookie.ag. If you're not already joined with MyBookie, you can go to mybookie.ag. Use promo code Tour Junkies. Now, this does get confused a little bit. If you use promo code Tour Junkies, you're going to get a 50% deposit bonus. If you deposit $100 as your opening deposit, you're going to get an additional $50. So now you have $150 to play with. However, like every other online gambling site out there, you will be required to meet rollover requirements before you can withdraw. If you wish to waive that need, then you may chat into MyBookie and tell them you wish to waive it. Therefore, you are also relinquishing your deposit bonus. But you are still coded under Tour Junkies, which means you can always come to us if you have any questions, problems, issues, customer service needs, whatever. We have very few of those, but everyone that we do have always gets fantastic service from our friends at mybookie.ag, who we've been working with for about 3 years. Pat, did you get a refill there? Is that what you did? Little fresh pour?
Little refill. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going with a theme here. I want scores at the Barracuda. I want mid-range kind of shots at the Barracuda. And I want guys who are on the fringe in the old FedEx Cup standings as of now. So I'm going to start with my short odds. I like Johnny Vegas at 35-1. Johnny Vegas is currently 71st in the FedEx Cup playoff, so he's pretty safe to play in the first event, but top 70 get into the second event. He's probably thinking about that. We know Johnny Vegas has been playing well lately, 35-1. He's as short as I'm going. I agree with you on Sam Ryder. I'm going to add to the Sam Ryder play at 40-1 another 40-1 guy, Denny McCarthy, who's also playing very well right now and 115th in FedEx Cup standing. So he's right on the fringe. He's got to have a good week this week and next week. Denny McCarthy's one. I'm going to go Troy Merritt at 50-1. Who is another guy who's been playing pretty well lately. He's 112th in the FedEx Cup standings, right on the fringe of the 125. I'm going to go with a guy who played very well this past week at the other alternate event in Kentucky at the Barbasol. Sebastian Munoz is outside of the 125. He's 129th, and he is 60-1 on MyBookie. And then two more, Kelly Craft, who almost won. Finished second at the Barbasol to Jim Herman this past week. Shot like 25 under, which is ridiculous at any tour event. If you talk about a guy who's hot right now, can score, he's at 66-1, and Kelly Craft is 114th in the FedEx Cup standings, so also very motivated. And finally, a guy we've both been on in all formats who we know can score, but what's going to happen is he's going to score 3 out of 4 rounds. We just need him to put 4 rounds together, and he can win. He also looks just like a skinnier version of Pat. It is Hank Lebioda at 80-1. I'm liking a little Lebioda, and he is way outside of that top 125 at 141st in the FedEx Cup standings. So I'm going Vegas, McCarthy, Ryder, Merritt, Munoz, Kraft, and Lebioda. And then you're doing Sam Ryder and Wes Roach.
I do like the Munoz pick.
I'm saying this, I want to make a point here because I'm pretty sure that when this week is all said and done, we're going to make a lot of people some money because one of those picks is going to win this thing, and people are going to be happy that we talked about it. There we go. Now, that's all I will say about the freaking Barracuda. Tell us about TPC Southwind, a course that we should all be somewhat familiar with as the host site of the former FedEx Cup St Jude Classic. What we got?
Yeah, so they've held that tournament actually
By the way,
since night.
Timeout. Presented by Fantasy Draft, of course. Did you? I played in the tour card last week. I cashed. Won some money in the tour card. Shocking, I know, but the rake-free DFS movement is still.
It's coming.
I think Fantasy Draft is like
it's like Game of Thrones. Winter is coming, but you just don't.
I think they're all sitting around a table.
It's going to take forever to get there, but it's coming.
They're all sitting around at a table and they're like, "Do we really want to do this? Do we really want to not charge rake for every contest? How are we going to do this? How are we going to make it happen? How are we going to make sure that 100% of your entry fees go into the prize pool? How are we going to make sure that 100% of all entry fees are going to be paid out the way that we say they're going to be paid out? How are we going to make sure that we have a rake-free DFS site that provides Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, and of course PGA and NHL if you do that stuff?" It's unbelievable, but we do know that it is coming, but it's just not real right now. It's supposed to be here next week. It's going to be good. We think that if you play DFS regularly, you are going to see where your dollar will go further in this new format at Fantasy Draft. So if you've not joined already, you can go to Fantasy Draft and set it up. It's a great site. The PGA game is fun because you pick 7 players. They drop your lowest scoring guy from every roster, and they keep your top 6 scoring guys. Also, your brother, Chris Perry, DirecTV Perry, is chiming in on your bangs, Pat, which I think is pretty hilarious. Your bangs are doing a thing right now. You want to fix that? I am here for the Chris Perry commentary on YouTube. I'm here for it. I will gladly put it all over the screen, and Pat has no idea what I get to throw up on the screen. It's literally the best.
The YouTube thing is going to end Tour Junkies forever at some point.
All right, hit us with TPC Southwind.
All right, so as I said, they have played this course since 1989, so there's definitely some history here. It is a par 70, 7,244 yards. You got Bermuda greens this week. Remember, 64-player field, no cut.
No cut.
There's some strategy involved with that. This course plays pretty tough, though. I mean, you look at last year was the 11th toughest course on tour. In 2017, it was the 15th, and in 2016, it was the 10th toughest course. So this is definitely one that has some teeth to it, even though it typically gets a weaker field. You know, don't think because of that this course is not tough on these guys. Water is in play on a ton of holes. Actually, 8 holes it is in play, so there are some big numbers. This course is literally the most, like, if you look at water balls every year, this is the one. It even beats out TPC Sawgrass, which has a lot of water as well, especially 12 and 18.
Is that real? Is that a real stat? Did you just make that up?
No, I read it somewhere.
There are more water balls here than at TPC Sawgrass? That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Are you going to get him back on Tito's already? I mean, just level it out. Okay?
Now that you mentioned it, I may need to get a refill here in just a minute.
Anyway, so you got to keep it in the fairway. Don't F up your approach shots. You look at the par 5s. There are 2 par 5s here, but both of them are gettable. The number 3 plays 554 yards. Number 16 plays 530 yards. So, again, you probably can see some eagles on those holes. You got 4 par 3s out here playing between, 162 is the shortest, longest is 239. Here's where the teeth really lies in this course, though. 8 of the 12 par 4s measure 450 to 500 yards. That's pretty long there when you're talking about, 3/4 of your par 4s are that 450 to 500 yards. So that's what makes it really tough. So I did look at that as far as stats. I looked at par 4 scoring from 450 to 500 yards. Also looked at strokes gained approach, driving accuracy. This is a ball strikers course. We've seen that year in and year out. I did look at opportunities gained, though, just seeing, some guys that are definitely giving themselves scoring chances. Looking at past champs. Now, this is the FedEx St Jude. This is not WGC Firestone, okay?
So we don't care about that. Give us FedEx St Jude Classic winners.
Do not care about that. So last year, DJ won 2017 Berger, 2016 Berger, 2015 Fabian Gomez, and 2014 Ben Crane.
Selena's daddy.
Ben Crane.
And DJ won another year, too. DJ won twice.
He won in 2012, so he's won twice.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is the course breakdown for TPC Southwind in Memphis, Tennessee. What a fantastic city, by the way. Great barbecue.
It ain't Nashville, but yeah, it's a good spot. Good breakdown there. I looked at strokes gained approach, strokes gained off the tee. I looked at scoring, so DraftKings points scored or birdie or better or whatever you want to do. I think bogeys avoided. Bogey avoidance is a good stat. You mentioned, it's not the easiest course on tour, despite having a really crappy field. It is kind of a tough spot. And then I looked at strokes gained putting over the last 100 rounds on Bermuda green surfaces. I think that's going to make a difference. But here's the deal. All in all, what matters most if you're playing DFS is ownership. So ownership, leverage, scoring, I think that makes a big deal. And in terms of betting odds, we'll get to that here in just a minute. But I noticed, a few players that have gained the most strokes at Southwind over the last few years would be Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Billy Horschel, Brooks Koepka, are your top 4. Chez Reavie, J.B. Holmes, Ian Poulter kind of in there as well. When you look at guys who have played here more than a couple times, those guys have gained the most strokes at TPC Southwind, which just tells you it's a ball striking course. It's tee to green. It's get hot on the Bermuda putting surfaces. That's what it is. So I think it's an interesting event. As you mentioned, 64 players. Therefore, in terms of betting and DFS, I think it's kind of wide open. I mean, any of these guys can get hot and go low all 4 rounds and score on this golf course. So let's get to it, Pats. 9K and above. Let's start. 3 tournament plays or GPPs, 1 cash play, and a fade. I am going to play Brooks Koepka in a non-major at 11.6, which if you follow us close enough, you know that I rarely play the highest price guy on DraftKings, and I rarely play Brooks if it's not a major. But I do know that a WGC is as close to a major as it gets, not being a major, and Brooks likes some money. And I also know that Brooks said himself, nobody hit the ball better than he did at the Open Championship, which I agree. He just couldn't make a freaking putt.
Yeah.
He didn't make anything, which is not like Brooks. He normally makes putts, and he just didn't. But still managed to finish 4th at the Open. I love Brooks staying hot, tee to green here. He's already, he's played here. He's played 20 rounds here at TPC Southwind, and he's 7th in strokes gained total at this golf course. And at 11.6, I think I'm going to give you a couple guys in the 6K on DraftKings that I really like, that I think you can pair him with, and then get into that 7K range. I think you're just fine. And I think he's going to be low owned. I think he's going to be faded. Everybody's going to love playing DJ, who's won here twice. Rory at a little bit of a discount, being the third price guy here. I think Brooks will be low owned in tournaments as well. And then I'm going to go to Cantlay at 9,800. I know he didn't have the best Open Championship. I was all over him for there, but he checks every single box. He's 2nd in bogey avoidance. He's 5th in DraftKings points scored. He's 6th in strokes gained off the tee. He's 8th in strokes gained approach. You talk about winners like DJ and Berger winning twice, each winning twice. You're talking about ball strikers. You're talking about Patrick Cantlay. So I love Cantlay here at 9,800, and a kind of benign finish to the Open may lead to lower ownership on him as well. But ultimately, I don't care what his ownership is. I'm going to play him. And then at 9,300, I'm going to go Xander Schauffele. The strokes gained off the tee numbers, the scoring ability of Xander. The kid's just super good, and the value on DraftKings at 9,300 is also way too good. Now, you guys know me. I don't bet short odds. I don't like betting short odds, so I don't have any betting picks here. But strictly in DFS, I'm going Brooks, Cantlay, and Xander. For cash, I think Xander is where you start your cash lineups at $9,300. I'm all in on him. And then, I still think you fade DJ. Like 11.4, second highest price guy. Clearly something is not right, and it's not just the putter. It's not just the putter for DJ. It did not hit the ball, did not strike the ball all that well at the Open Championship either. In fact, he lost almost 4 strokes off the tee at the Open. I mean, that's alarming for DJ. When's the last time DJ lost 4 strokes off the tee? Now, obviously, he may return to some sort of an average, but his game has not been great. So as the second highest priced guy, a former winner twice, maybe owned high in GPPs, my fade is DJ. That's my 9K and above range. Pat, I'm going to go refill, and I'm going to maximize your ugly mug on the YouTube feed so people can only see you. And I'm going to go refill while you tell me what you think of those plays and give me your 9K plays.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to start with DJ since you just mentioned him, and he is my fade as well for all the reasons that you said. I just don't see playing him at 11.4 the way he's playing right now, his recent form, everything else. So DJ is my fade. I am certainly in agreement with you. As far as GPP plays, I'm going back to Rory. God, what the hell is that noise? Good Lord, keep it down. All right, just keep it down. Anyway, I'm going back to the well with Rory. Look, he has been fantastic all year. I know he had a tough event, at the Open, whatever. You take out the first and the last holes, he's in there in contention, I think. So I'm going to go with Rory at 11-1. I love him. You look at the stats across the board. He's number 1 in ball striking, number 2 in approach, checks the box and opportunities gained. Also, he in that par 4 scoring I mentioned, 450 to 500 yards. Just a great driver of the ball. So I do like Rory at 11-1. I'm with you on Cantlay. He was my other GPP at 9,800, so don't need to say any more there. Also, Justin Rose. I like him at 9,500. Checks the box in ball striking. Also, strokes gained approach, opportunities gained. And he is 7th in the field in par 4 scoring from 450 to 500 yards. I like that for Justin Rose. For cash, I'm actually going to go with Henrik Stenson, another guy just been coming on after that slow start to the year. You know, you look at his stats literally across the board: driving accuracy, strokes gained approach. He's number 1, number 2, by the way, in driving accuracy, 14th in ball striking. I think Stenson is as solid as they come. Yeah, you can play him in cash, you can play him in GPP, but I'm going to put him right there in the cash slot for me. So Stenson will be that guy. So Rory, Cantlay, Justin Rose, Stenson's my cash, and then my fade is with my boy DB, even though he's an asshole, is my fade.
Wow, that's aggressive. That is aggressive.
So there you go.
All right, let's get to the 8K range, and this is where I also am going to start my betting card in the 8K range here. Before we do that, I do think, again, if you've not already joined Fantasy National Golf Club by now, you're losing a lot of dollars. 6 figures won at the Open Championship by Fantasy National members, and you can join fantasynational.com when you use fantasynational.com/TJ, okay? And you get 20% off your membership. That's pretty amazing. 20% off a weekly, monthly, or annual subscription. And if you just try the weekly subscription and do fantasynational.com/TJ when you sign up, and then you decide this is amazing, I want to upgrade to an annual subscription, you can still get the 20% off. It's pretty awesome, and it's the best stat engine. It's where all of our stats come from. When you hear us talk about stats, you can trust that every single one of them come from Fantasy National. 8K range, Patrick Perry. What's your middle name? I forgot your middle name. Patrick Horton? Is it Horton?
Horton. What is my oldest son's name?
Harrison. Patrick Harrison. That's right. I remember
Good
that.
Lord. All right. You know what? I'm taking you. You were on the list in the Chunk and Run for one of these questions, and you are now off the list.
I know the question. That hurts. That hurts. By the way, Chunk and Run, we're going to talk about partying after the Open. You're going to want to hear this. And we're going to address Twitter trolls. In the 8K range, my 2 tournament plays. God, this is painful. All right, I'm going to go with Hideki, which is not painful. That's not the painful tip or painful pick. Missed his first cut in 20-something events. So the last 2 cuts Hideki has missed were the Open Championship in 2019 and the Open Championship in 2018, okay? He is not going to miss another cut, and at 8,900, he's still ball striking his balls off, all right? He checks every single box that I mentioned when I said what stats I'm looking at. Just know that he checks all of them. He just doesn't play the Open well. And I liked him last week on the podcast, and I read the chalk bomb, and I read 15 reasons why I shouldn't like him, and I was like, well, maybe I should fade him. So I did, worked out. But I'm going back to Hideki this week in an event like this, 4 rounds guaranteed. I love what he's doing right now. He's having one of the best years that nobody's talking about, honestly. Hideki is. So I'm all in on Hideki. And then I'm going to go to a guy who missed the cut, and I said you should fade last week, but I'm going to him this week, and that's Gary Woodland. Number 1 in this field in strokes gained approach, number 13 in DraftKings points scored, 27th in bogeys avoided. Checks the box off the tee, doesn't putt that well on Bermuda, but obviously he doesn't putt that well anyway. But at 8,100, that is a pretty good price break for Gary Woodland. And you don't have to worry about him missing the cut and just missing it on the number and being stupid, right? Like, you get him all 4 rounds. And I love the leverage and the value you get with Woodland there. He is also where I'm going to start my betting card at mybookie.ag, promo code Tour Junkies. He is at 55-1. The U.S. Open winner is 55 to 1 in a 64-man field where like 10 of these guys are worthless. He is 55 to 1 to win this event, a WGC event, just because he barely missed the cut at the Open. Play Gary Willen.
I think there's. I mean, I do think you're
Put
right.
money on Gary Willen at 55 to 1.
I think you definitely put some money on there, but I mean, if you look at off the tee as far as his accuracy is concerned and things like that, which I do think makes a little bit of a difference here, he's not really checking the box there. But I mean, other than that,
I didn't look at that. I don't care about that.
I'm just saying, and
he's got to be way less accurate.
I just feel like there's a little bit of a sucker side to this at 8,100. I just wonder. He's not my fave, but there's just something about it that I don't know. But look, I mean, it's a 64-man field, so whatever.
I think you get an Open champion and a guy who's had a great year and checks a lot of boxes for $8,100 is pretty strong. My cash play in this range is actually going to be Tony Finau. I liked what I saw out of Finau, and I didn't think he was going to finish third at the Open. I didn't, but at this event where, like, listen, I know you said that this has not been one of the easier courses on tour, but I do think now that the field is much stronger, I still think a lot of birdies are out there, and I think that's Finau does well there. And he also surprisingly doesn't make a lot of big numbers. But I like how he played at the Open. I like the momentum. He's kind of back on track. He doesn't check a lot of boxes because if you look, over the last 6 weeks or so, he's not done great. But I was pleased to see what he did at the Open. And at 8,400, you're guaranteeing me 4 rounds. I like the scoring ability of Tony Finau. So I'm going to roll with Xander and Finau if you're going to play cash lineups. I like that combination. And I'm going to fade Jordan Spieth. I mean, you can't go 4 rounds spraying the ball all over tarnation like Jordan did. And we saw it on Sunday. The guy, through 36 holes, I don't remember how he finished through 72, but I know through 36 holes he hit 11 fairways at Portrush. 11 fairways at Portrush. And we saw him Sunday, literally, he was all over the place. His ball striking is not there, and at $8,600, he is again an easy fade. I don't want a ball striking course. I don't want Jordan here. Not interested.
I agree. Although here's the thing: we talk about him at the Open being, like if we want to get into the actual picks themselves and like him being just an easy fade, and we sort of brush across that and say like, okay, well you can't choose him, you got to choose anybody else. So why is this different than any other week? Just because he had okay week last week, like so that's your bold call is Jordan Spieth. Like last week, if I chose Spieth, that would have been like a laughable fade because he's obvious. But this week it's not. So like I guess maybe I can go with Phil Mickelson then.
I mean,
Should I go with that?
So he finished 20th at the Open. So you don't think people?
But he was in contention. You
don't think
right?
people are gonna be ready to play Jordan Spieth at 8,600?
No, I don't. Not in this 8K range when you got guys around him who are actually playing a lot better consistently.
Honestly,
than he is.
there's nobody else in here I would fade over him. There's just maybe Hatton. I'm not a big fan of Hatton here, but I know he had a good week.
See, I'll go with Jason Day at 8,300, and the reason is terms of a fade, and the reason
I'd much rather play Jason Day. Much rather play Jason Day.
No, but I think when it comes to ownership and things like that, which is hard to peg on a 64-man field, we could get into that, and you can obviously look at FanShare and see what it is. But Jason Day, I think when you get him at 8,300, when have you seen Jason Day at 8,300? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to play Jason Day just because they see him at 8,300 and it's freaking Jason Day.
I mean, he was only 12% owned on average at the Open, and he missed the cut.
But this is a 64-man field event.
Jordan was like 6% owned and finished 20th, but you think more people are going to want to play Jason Day?
I think yes, for sure. Yeah. You think Jordan Spieth's going to be higher owned than Jason Day this week?
I don't know that he's going to be higher because I mean he was half the ownership of Jason Day last week, so I'm not going to say he's going to be higher, but I think they're going to be within a percentage or two. I think they're going to be very close. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
You're obviously the ownership whisperer.
Yeah, I'm the ownership wizard of the group. That is for sure.
All right, he's your fade. Give me the rest of your picks.
So he's my fade. Hideki, I'm with you on him. I mean, coming off that missed cut, whatever. I mean, he's just, ball striking, everything else. I'm with you there. So I do like Hideki. I'm going to go back on cash. I'm going to go to my other GPP play last. But for cash, I will say Paul Casey at 8,200. I think even though I faded him last week, which actually kind of turned out okay, you look at the stats for this course, I mean, it's just across the board. It's perfect. I mean, number 2 in ball striking, 7th in strokes gained approach, 9th in fairways gained. He's 5th in opportunities gained, top 20 in par 4 scoring. So I think across the board, this is a course for Paul Casey to fare well on. I kind of, you look at a course like Copperhead at Valspar, where he's done extremely well. Another very difficult, kind of sneaky, difficult course on tour where he's done well on. So I do like Paul Casey here at 8,200. The other GPP play, which I just cannot wait to talk about, is Bryson DeChambeau at 8,800. I know you hate him, but you know what? I've said this all year. He is a guy that you play when he's been hot. And I'm throwing out the Open Championship because I just don't think – you talked about him being a fade last week, I believe, and this is not a course for him. Or not this course, but the Open is not. It's just not. He thinks about things too much. I don't think he has all the shot shapes that you need out there. Did you just see the shot tracker on some of Shane Lowry's shots? Like 17 yesterday, that thing barely got like 12 yards off the ground. I just don't think that DeChambeau has all of that. But he has the shots for a course like this. And he's, you look at stats, top 20 in ball striking and approach, top 20 in driving accuracy. He's been playing extremely well lately. So I do like Bryson DeChambeau at 8,800. I don't care for him as an individual, but that does not matter. My wallet does not care. My wallet does not care about that. So I will play him in my tournament lineups this week. So there you go.
I am going to reveal to the people watching on YouTube this is my rundown sheet here. This is my rundown sheet. Okay? And on here I write down some picks, and if you'll notice in the 8K section there is Decky, Gary, and who's there underneath it?
Look at a little Bryson right there.
I actually kind of like a little Bryson here. I've said this though since my hatred for Bryson, since what was that, like 4 or 5 podcasts ago, when I really said, okay, I've come to my firm stance on Bryson, because my stance on Bryson is relatively new. I for a year now have been like, do I like him? Do I not like him? I don't know. But a few podcasts ago, I went ahead and said, yes, I've landed on the fact that I can't stand him. But I also said, I know that he's a good enough player that if I'd be a fool to not play him. And I actually kind of like him here. I agree with you. I like where his form was prior to the Open. I said it last week. I don't think the Open, at least at Portrush, is not his thing. I think he can overthink it. And I think maybe that's what he did, maybe not. But his form before that was fantastic. This was about the time of year last year he won 2 events. Right?
Yeah,
we nailed him at 80-1. I don't mind Bryson whatsoever. He just didn't make my final 2. So, but I had him written down. I just proved it to the people. Nice. All right. 7K. I started the 9K and above. Why don't you start the 7Ks here? Give me 3 tournament plays, a cash play, and 2 fades, Mr. Patrick.
All right. Well, so I had several here that I like. So it was kind of hard to peg, but I'm going to start with old Chesticle, Ches Reavie at 7,900. I like him this week. You look at the stats for him. He has always been a ball striking machine, and he's been incredible this year. He is number 1 in the field, by the way, in driving accuracy, checks the box in opportunities gained, and par 4 scoring for me. I think he could be lower owned after missing 2 cuts straight after his win. But last year when he played at the FedEx, he was 6th. So a good finish last year. He is also top 20 in the field when you go back to putting on Bermuda over the last, I looked at, I believe it was 75 rounds. So I think that Ches Reavie I'm going to get back on him. I know he's missed the last 2 cuts, but I like him this week, so he will be one of my GPP plays. The next one is going to be a guy you mentioned earlier, Billy Horschel at 7,500. I think he is a great play this week. You look at the stats for him. I mean, he's 16th in ball striking, 22nd in approach, 15th in fairways gained, checks the box in par 4 scoring. He's just been solid all year, made 18 of 20 cuts with 5 top 20 finishes. He was 4th here at the St. Jude Classic in 2017. So I like Billy Horschel, and I also like him as my cash play. Now, here's where I had problems was my third tournament play. And I was kind of flipping back and forth between a couple folks. And I think I'm going to go Matthew Fitzpatrick at 7,700. You know, I mean, he was top 20 last week at the Open. He was 12th at the U.S. Open. He was 2nd at the BMW just a few weeks ago. He checks the box in driving accuracy. He's 5th. He checks the box in ball striking. You know, he's 3rd actually in putting on Bermuda over the last 75 rounds. So I think old Fitzy could be a good play, kind of a sneaky play this week. We'll see where his ownership is. So there you go. By the way, the other guy that I cannot not mention him, and that's Andrew Putnam. I like him also as a tournament play. So there you go.
Who did you say your cash game play was?
I'm going to go with Horschel in cash.
And your 2 fades?
Oh, we have 2 fades.
Oh, God. Yeah, we've only had 2 fades in the 7K range for like a year now.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just okay. Mark Leishman at 7,600. Who we faded last week, by the way. A lot of people were on Mark Leishman. Neither one of us. I think he's another good fade this week. You know, doesn't really check any boxes for me at all. And I think, you know, people might look at him at that 76 price range, kind of a bigger name, might want to play him. So I think he's certainly a fade. I'll throw one out here. Just because I didn't write it down, and you just got to continue to fade. Phil Mickelson.
Jeez. All right.
Go ahead.
First of all, I like your Billy Ho play. Good ball striker, good form, never played the Open well. Okay, so I agree with you. I think you kind of throw out the Billy Ho Open.
Hey, you remember the hat backwards thing?
I do remember.
Back in the day, the hat backwards at the Open, and then we got the interview.
Yeah, that's how we landed the Billy Horschel interview. Was Pat pissing and moaning on Twitter about Billy Ho's hat backwards in the rain at the Open. That's good stuff. All right, I'm going to start my tournament plays at $7,600 at Danny Willett, who I also had a bet on to win the Open last week at 80-1. Finished 6th at the Open Championship, and he's checking boxes. Danny Willett's back, y'all. He's back. A return of the Danny Willett. He'll always have a special place in my heart because they hit him at 150-1 to win the Masters in 2016 or whatever it was. I like Willett here at 7,600. I think he's going to be a low-owned tournament play, and that's what you need here. All 4 rounds, whatever. You're gonna get him. I like him also on my bookie. He's going to make the betting card at 66-1. Playing that well right now. I like it. I'm gonna roll with Danny Willett. I'm gonna go with the rookie, the young guy, Mr. Matthew Wolff. Now, I think he could be popular. Everybody's excited to play the new young stud, fresh off his first PGA Tour victory a couple weeks ago. Obviously checks a lot of boxes off the tee to green. But when I look at winners like DJ, like Daniel Berger, I do think you're going to have to make a lot of birdies here. I think Matt Wolff is an interesting pick at 7,500. I think the value's too good to avoid no matter the ownership. In fact, I also like him enough that he's my cash play in the 7K range, and he's on my betting card at 90-1. I mean, 90-1 for Matt Wolff in a 64-man field who just won his first tour event. I think it's a great number on mybookie.ag. So I'm tripling down on Matt Wolff. I will have him in tournaments, I will have him in cash, and I will have him on my betting card at mybookie.ag. And then finally, I'm going to go to a guy who missed the cut last week, but has actually, he's got 12 rounds under his belt at TPC Southwind, and in those 12 rounds, he is 9th in strokes gained total at TPC Southwind historically, and that is Ian Poulter. I had a lot of Poults at the Open. He disappointed me greatly in the miscut. He didn't get the best part of the weather draw, and that is a thing at the Open Championship, something to consider. But he is 25th in DraftKings points scored over the last 24 rounds or whatever I measured. And he also putts really well on Bermuda grass long term. I think Poulter's an interesting bounce back in tournaments if you're playing DraftKings or FanDuel or what have you. And then my two fades, I'm going to go with Matthew Fitzpatrick. I don't like Fitz here. I liked Fitz last week when distance and like high rate of scoring didn't matter. But I don't like Fitz in an event like this where you got to hit it long, you gotta bomb it, you gotta score a lot of birdies. I'm just not a fan of Fitzpatrick here. And I'm also going to fade our boy Kevin Kisner, who can't seem to avoid the big number. He is not playing well. He's not checking the box in bogey avoidance here over the last few rounds that I looked at. Not gaining strokes off the tee like he should, honestly. He's not making enough birdies for me. He's not racking up the top tens. It's 7,200 on a course where it's a birdie fest. It's kind of a bomb and gouge deal, I think. I'm weighing accuracy less than you. I think Kisner's a fade. I liked him last week. I ended up coming on to him late in the week, but not here at TPC Southwind. So there you go. All right, Pat, let's get to the 6K range, and we're going to button this bad boy up with a fun chunk and run segment tonight. 6K, I got two guys, and I'm going to bet both of them because I love the odds. I'm going to go with a little Lucas Beauregard, who finished 16th at the Open Championship, gaining 5 strokes off the tee, a stroke and a half on approach. 16th also at the PGA Championship, 21st at the Masters. He's basically European Brooks Koepka, okay? Like 21st at the Masters, 16th at the PGA, 16th at the Open. Meanwhile, missed the cut at the Byron Nelson, missed the cut at the RBC. I think he's going to like to see the purse breakdown at the WGC event this week. Coming off a hot week, I like Beauregard here. I like the scoring ability. I like the distance off the tee. And actually, on the data that we do have, he putts best on Bermuda as opposed to bent grass or POA surfaces. And then I'm going to go with another Euro who checks the box off the tee and DraftKings scoring. He's another cheap play, and that is Justin Harding, who finished 41st at the Open, had a rough weekend, but was right up there, gained strokes on approach, gained strokes tee to green. Justin Harding's a guy who can score a lot of points. He's $6,600 on DraftKings. I like Harding. Harding is 150 to 1 on my bookie. And going into Sunday, he was on the first page of the leaderboard at the Open. Lucas Beauregard, another player who was also up there on the first page of the leaderboard on the weekend, is 125 to 1 at mybookie.ag. So I like both of those guys. And then finally, a guy that I'm not going to play in DFS, but I can't not put a unit on him on my bookie, is Keith Mitchell at 175 to 1. Keith obviously checks the box in strokes gained off the tee. He loves Bermuda surfaces, loves them. He did miss the cut, but he didn't miss it by much at the Open. And he's 175 to 1 in a 64-man field. I think I got to have a unit on Keith Mitchell. So there's a 6K range for me.
Okay. Well, I will say this, and I looked at Keith Mitchell as well, but he is actually 48th in this field in strokes gained putting in Bermuda grass.
What term how long are you looking there?
75 rounds.
75. Okay. Yeah, I mean he's 40th.
Which was one thing I was just kind of like, and I do agree. Like he typically has putted very well.
He's more comfortable.
Did you just?
He's not a great
you just
putter.
like? Did you pee your pants or something, and so you're like wiping it up, or what are you doing there?
No, I've got like a wooden chair that I sit on, so I put this pillow on it to make it comfortable for my bony ass. Since I'm just adjusting the pillow, it's like one of those feather pillows that the feathers move around.
Okay,
you know, so
I feel like that's that's very old manish of you. I feel like that's something I should be doing. I might need to switch to the pillow underneath me here. I feel like I got a good setup though. But all right, so I'm gonna go with. I've actually got 2 Asians in here in the 6K range. So I'm gonna go with.
Let me guess. Anyway, go ahead. There's only like 3 Asians.
I've got some CT Pan here at 6,800. You know, a guy that he checks more, but he sucked at a lot of the majors, but he's actually been extremely well when it comes to your regular tour events. He's been played really well this year. So, you know, I think CT Pan is and look, here's another thing with this 6K range. And in any tournament like this where it's a world golf event and you've got these guys, everyone's going to make the cut. You know, you gotta kind of take a little bit of a chance on some guys, and he's played well this year. We've seen him win this year. Finished third, I think it was back in the Charles Schwab. So I like CT Pan at 6,800. I think he's a good fit for this course. And he finished 18th here in 2018, so last year. So had a top 20 finish. So he obviously has played it well before. Yeah. It's the same course. And then also I will go with Hao Tong Lee at 6,600. He let me down last week. I thought he might have a good week. But he is a good scorer. He checks the box in opportunities gained. Also in that par 4 scoring, he's top 20 in the field there from 450 to 500 yards. Definitely accurate off the tee. You look at the stats. I looked at the stats for him last week as far as the European Tour stats. And he checks the box in scoring for sure. So I do like some Hao Tong Lee at 6,600. Definitely going to be a low-owned guy as well as I think CT Pan is. To win a tournament, you gotta have some of these low-owned guys. So yeah. And you never know what can happen. So there you go. I liked your Harding pick, by the way. He was the other one I was kind of going in between him and Hao Tong Lee right there. So I'm with you there on him. So boom.
Our boy Nick just said he can battle with the big guns because he doesn't know who any of them are. Hao Tong Lee definitely knows that. Nick on YouTube. One and done. I'm gonna go with. By the way, if you're playing DFS, obviously we've said this 100 times. 64-man field, no cut. Ownership is super important, especially if you're playing in a big contest. You got to play a couple guys that are weird. You know, that are like gonna make you uncomfortable if you want to finish top 1% or better in one of those big DFS tournaments. So just take note of that. Don't get too chalky. One and done. I'm going to go Tony Finau. Haven't used him all year because he sucked. But I'm feeling, I said I liked him in cash, and I feel confident that he's turned it around that quickly. So I'm going Tony Finau. One and done.
Okay.
By the way, did you know I've caught up to you in the one and done like very, very recently? I think you had a much better week than me this past week. You had Brooks.
You didn't after last week because Brooks got me $500,000 and you got like 10,000 or something. Maybe it's not 90.
Anyway, who you taking?
I'm gonna go with Bryson.
Oh,
gonna go with Bryson.
Ouch. Okay. All right, Pat. Let's get to our favorite segment of every week. It is the Chunk and Run. It is the it's when we talk about random stuff. The Chunk is anything about golf, anything at all. The Run is about anything that's not golf related. So we would ask that some of you would email in or DM us on Twitter or Instagram your Chunk and Run questions. We need them. We need them. So tonight's Chunk and Run segment brought to you by our friends at fansharesports.com. Listen. We've been going there for 3 years now to check tournament ownership. If you're playing DFS, if you're playing GPPs, if you're playing NFL or the PGA Tour in terms of DFS and GPPs, you need to have fansharesports.com subscription ready to go. And you can use promo code Tour Junkies for your 20% off weekly, monthly, or annual subscription. They listen to all the shows, they read all the articles, they do all the stuff, and they say, hey, if you only have time to listen to Tour Junkies because they're hilarious and amazing, here's what the other people who may be smarter than the Tour Junkies are saying they want to do. So therefore, you will have an idea of who's chalky and who is not. So there you go. Fansharesports.com, promo code Tour Junkies, Chunk and Run, Pat. We were inspired by Shane Lowry winning the Open Championship, partying like an animal, driving to his hometown in Ireland, I believe Dublin, and partying with his dad, his caddy, a bunch of lads and mates, and they late into the night were pounding Guinnesses from the claret jug there. If you were to win the Open, who makes the guest list? Who are you inviting to the after party? And who specifically are you excluding from the after party? You know, we've talked to our buddy Kisner, right? Like, we've been hanging out with Kiz on a Sunday at the PGA Championship or whatever when he's had a chance to win it. And Kiz has told us, like, hey, if we win this thing, you're staying with me, you're partying, we're going to private jet it back home to Augusta. And, of course, it never happened. But, you know, at least for now, I think we're on the list. But who would be on your list, Pat, and who specifically would be excluded from your list?
Well, there's a lot of folks that would be on the list. Because I would think of, you know, dating back all the way till when I was a kid and whatever else. But so I'll start with this. Definitely family members. Family members are all on the list. They're going to be partying with me. So I will definitely do that. Even though I said it earlier, I'd put you on the list, David. You would be on the list to party with me. I'd be making you take shots, though. You'd have to take shots. You couldn't just sip on something, you know, and not, like, I would want really drunk DB at the party. So we would have to get you there. I would want a past Open champion there. And so I would have John Daly there. I feel like John Daly would
brilliant play. Brilliant play.
I feel like
I'm going to add that to mine.
I feel like Daly has to be there, so I would put him on the list. And then there's a couple, one more on the list, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm also going to do. Now, this is not necessarily a certain person on the list, but something I would do with the claret jug. It would be kind of like a tour. And so, but I would have Snoop Dogg there. I feel like Snoop Dogg needs to be at the party. I just love some Snoop. I love his chill attitude. I also wrote down a rapper. Yeah. I think of Snoop with like the scene in Old School, you know, when he comes out, he's in the party, you know, they have the house party there, and he's just like, you know, partying with all the college folks. So that leads me to what I would do with Snoop, John Daly, DB, my family, and everything else. We would go to Athens, Georgia with the cup. Okay, so I go back to my college days, and we would bar hop with that damn thing all over Athens, Georgia. Because, of course, you know, obviously it means I was a good golfer, and I played for Georgia probably is what it would mean. And so I would just be doing I would go back to all the bars that I haven't been to in years in Athens. You know, God, I can't even think of all of them. But anyway, so East West, by the way, East West was a great bar there. Gus Garcia's was a great bar. I'd go there when I was, you know, in this tour of Athens. So all these people would be with me, and it'd be just a traveling party. We'd be singing, we'd be drinking out of the cup. I mean, it would be just the most epic party ever, and it would last a long, long time. It would last 2 or 3 days.
Who would you
We'd
not
have like
invite?
those. All right, so the not invite part was difficult for me because I'm a friendly person. Like I'm very inclusive, you know. I don't really not like to have anybody, you know, be able to, you know, enjoy things with me. But God, if I had to not invite, it would be the tour junkie, the haters. Be the haters. Just say if you're a hater, you can't come in the door. And I would have a few on the list, but I'm not going to say them right now, but I'd have them on there, and you would be on the list, and you would find out that you couldn't participate. So
you just find out.
You just find out. I think that'd be the toughest part. Is you thought like maybe you were a friend, but then you got to there and you find yourself not on the list.
We just got a great YouTube comment from our boy Jason Littlejohn, who we happened to meet at Masters Week. He said, would Mark Melton make the list?
You know what?
For those of you who don't know, Mark Melton is a nemesis of ours in my member guest. He's a sandbagging son of a gun. Would you invite Mark Melton?
He'd be welcome in my party because, you know,
F you, man. I'm not inviting Mark Melton. I don't care. He did turn out to be an okay guy.
Had a great
he
time
turned out to
with
be
him.
an okay guy, but F Mark Mellon, I'm never inviting that guy to my Open celebration. There's no way. There's freaking no way. That pisses me off that you would even say that.
I pretty much like everybody. I hate to
That's
exclude
bull.
anybody.
That's total bull. You freaking hate. You hate plenty of people. All right. First of all, I would invite you by default. I would invite Ash and I would invite Ben Little, the two guys that help us the most at the Tour Junkies. I think both of those guys deserve it.
Sure.
I think Ash.
Well, Ben would be in Athens anyway, so he'd be there.
See, my party's going down in the UK. Wherever I win it, I hope it's like Scotland or Ireland. Forget England. I've been to England. England sucks. Okay, England freaking sucks. So I'm winning it in this dream. I'm winning it in Scotland or Ireland, and I'm partying with those folks, and we're partying there. We're not jetting over to Athens, Georgia. All right, I get it. You want to reminisce your college life 25 years ago, but I'm not doing that.
But see, then you're gonna have like a few people, but nobody else knows you, so you're not able to enjoy it with the people that you love, that you enjoy.
I don't need people to know me. God, I want to get the farthest away from the people that know me as possible. No, I don't want to be around those people. I want to be in Scotland, Ireland. I want to be partying with the people of the land, of which I have conquered the claret jug.
No, but see, that would happen like the first night because you pretty much have to. But
well, that's what I'm talking about. The first night. That's what I'm talking about.
You gotta get hunted. You never said that in here. It never says. It says if you won the Open, who are you inviting to your party?
Whatever, man. Okay, all right. Well, in my dream, it's the night of. Okay, it's the first night. It's the Shane Lowry first night. And obviously, I'm famous enough to win the Open, so I got some famous friends. I'm inviting Mark Wahlberg because immediately Mark Wahlberg raises the cool status in the room. So I feel like Wahlberg walks in, it adds a little credibility to myself. I'm inviting DirecTV Perry, your brother, Chris Perry, because he's clearly the cooler of the twins. And maybe he gets just drunk enough that I punch him in the face again, which has happened in real life. For some reason I wrote down your name twice. I don't know what's happening there.
That's probably like
because you have invited.
You have like the two levels of Pat, so there's like you wanted first and second level Pat.
I wrote down another celebrity, a country singer that I really like, that I also know really loves golf, and that is Luke Combs. I'd invite Luke Combs. I'd want him bringing his music, his guitar up on stage, and we're singing some songs and drinking out of the claret jug, and just he's kind of the party. At some point, I would want to run across a homeless man in the UK, in Scotland, Ireland. I want to run across that man and have him come party with us, just so we have some random homeless guy partying. I think Ed Sheeran would be a good one. Another kind of guy like Luke Combs. When Luke was tired, Ed could pop in. He's a UK guy. He could kind of fill in the blanks there. I think Lil Wayne. You had a rapper on there. I'm a big Lil Wayne fan. Lil Tunechi. Lil Weezy. I feel like Lil Wayne could throw down. We could drink some lean. We could drink some purple stuff, some codeine. That'd be fun. I think our boy Moose from Fantasy National Golf Club. We have partied with Moose before.
Oh, gotta have Moose.
It is always a good time. I'm definitely partying with Moose. And then lastly, I thought a lot about music here. I think Zed, who's probably one of my favorite DJs. He's a phenomenal DJ. So when Luke and Ed Sheeran,
is he like Bad Bunny or something?
Yeah. So when like Luke or Ed Sheeran or Lil Wayne, like when they tire out, Zed can kind of kick it on the ones and twos. You know what I mean? People who I'm making sure not to invite would be I'm sorry. Oh, I got one more that I would invite, and that's Patrick Reed. I would invite Patrick Reed. Because I just want a villain in there, and I embrace Patrick Reed a little bit. I want to loosen him up. I want to see what he's like loosened up a bit. Not Justine, just Patrick. I'm definitely not inviting Bryson DeChambeau for obvious reasons.
Wait. Why would you invite Patrick Reed? He won't loosen up. Just because he's Captain America doesn't mean he
definitely will. No, he definitely
can't
will.
Party.
Yeah.
That guy cannot party. Nobody. Patrick Reed cannot party. There is no effing way that dude would be invited anywhere around me.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You say that, but it's probably because he's never been invited to a good party. And this would be a good party. I already mentioned Mark Wahlberg, Ed Sheeran, Luke Combs, and Lil Wayne. That's a damn good party. Patrick Reed is coming to the party sans Justine, okay? And he's going to be loose. We're going to get him lubed up. He's going to tell us all the stories about how he stole shit out of people's lockers at Augusta University and how much he hates the Euros, and it's going to be a blast. He's going to tell us all the Ryder Cup stories. He's going to have a great time. He's going to get sloppy drunk, and we're going to love it. And I think Reed's all in. People I'm not inviting are Bryson. Duh. I'm not inviting Kisner because Kiz, even though he would invite...
Why would you not want Kiz there?
Because it would be because Kiz is the most alpha mother effer I know. Okay, he is the most alpha dude I know. Every time when we text him, when we talk to Kiz, he wants to just dominate you, and he wants to like show how big his nuts are and just dominate and alpha everybody in the room so much that I would love nothing more than to leave him out of the celebration. Just to be like, you know what, kid? It's like Brooks not returning the text from Tiger, which we didn't even talk about Tiger in his whole thing. But it would be like it would just give me a lot of gratification one time to just not invite Kiz. Now, if I won again, I would totally invite Kiz. But the first time, I'm gonna humble his ass. That's all I'm saying. And then finally, I'm not inviting any of the foreplay guys. They're all tools. All right. If final question, the run question. This podcast has gone on way too long for the FedEx Cup St. Jude. If you were a Twitter troll, who would you troll? And are there any particular strategies or techniques that you would use as said Twitter troll? We have some Twitter trolls. A couple of them came out last week for whatever reason. I don't freaking know. But it's really got Pat all hot and bothered, y'all. Pat is like, he's like contemplating jumping off a bridge. He hates people not liking him or approving of him. He can't handle it. So I felt like it was appropriate to talk about, you know, maybe an outlet for him would be to be a Twitter troll, which we've never been. We've never been a Twitter troll. We don't, you know, but maybe if you could be, who would you troll and what would you do to troll them, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I think here's the thing with Twitter trolls. It's just, it's interesting because when, you know, you have these folks out there that is like what they do. They're just going to troll. So you kind of have to realize that it is what it is, and you know, not everyone likes you, and that's fine, and whatever else. I think for me, and I'm just before I talk about who I would troll, I'm just saying that the reason trolls probably get to me more than most things, because I can pretty much take anything, but it's the fact that they don't know who you are as a person. They know who you are on Twitter, and that's it. They see what they see on Twitter. They may listen to the show and whatever else, but they are not sitting there like you and I hanging out together and doing whatever else. And I feel like you're getting comments, by the way, on YouTube, because I can look when you're seeing that. So I mean, you know, if I were to be a troll, first off, I would troll you for one. So I would completely.
What would you do to troll me? You can't troll me, dude. I don't care.
I know, but I would still try my hardest.
Like, you try now on text threads that we have. But you successfully
like I would sit
managed.
there, like I would try to get as mean as I possibly can, because I can get mean. Actually, I can get mean.
I've seen you drunk and mean.
I can throw out some low blows, and I would do. That's what I would do. I would be like that.
What would your low blows be? Like, what would you go at?
For you?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to go there, because I'm not a troll, so I'm not going to go there. I mean, you could go there with anybody, but I don't like for anybody to feel bad about themselves. I like to lift people up, you know. But if I were gonna troll anybody, it would be and this probably isn't very original, but it would be in the political arena, because for one, I'm not in general, I think people just think of probably us and think of, because I don't know, whatever, for Southerners that we have one particular way of thinking. So I would probably actually troll the opposite way. Like I would troll, Fox News or something just to do it. I don't know.
We got a great YouTube comment just
now. What was that?
Our boy Josh Kitzler. The bangs stand at attention when Pat's temper flares. The bangs are getting a lot of love tonight, Pat. See, if you're only listening to the audio version and you've not made it an hour and a half into this stupid podcast, you would not know this. You need to be watching on YouTube.
Yeah, I hate that I don't have a better answer, but I don't know.
You clearly didn't give a lot of thought to the troll thing.
No, I didn't. You know what? You set these questions, like you set them harder last week when we had more time and it was the Open Championship, and then you set them even. I mean, like these are like too much thought is being like just make it easier next time.
Maybe let's come back to this then. Maybe let's come back to this question. I wrote down 3 names of people I trolled. The first one is Patrick Harrison Perry. Ridiculously unkempt your shirts and hair and all the OCD stuff that you pay attention to. I would tell you all about that every single day. I would troll you about that a lot. And then I would troll you by talking about what a horrible player and person Freddie Couples is. I would rail on Freddie Couples all the time just to totally piss you off. That's what I would do to you. I wrote that down. Also, I would troll Tiffany Amber Thiessen's husband like a madman. I may even consider doing that now. I would just troll him and tell him what a douche he is. I would tell him how stupid he is. I would make fun of him at all costs. I would troll Tiffany Amber Thiessen's husband. And then finally, I would troll Bryson DeChambeau's mom. Not Bryson. I hit him where it hurts. I get his mom. Jan DeChambeau. I would fucking rail Jan DeChambeau at all costs, relentlessly, daily, talking about. I would talk to her about what a douche lord her son is, because I know that hitting mom with the sun card is worse than hitting the sun with the sun card. You know what I mean? Like, I would hammer Jan daily with what a dick she raised in Bryson DeChambeau. I would clip his press conferences. I would quote him in the news. God, the YouTube comments. And then just for fun, not for serious, but for fun, I would hit on her. I would hit on Jan. I would come on to her on Twitter, on social media, just to get under Bryson's skin if he happened to be looking. I would gladly nail on Twitter Jan DeChambeau.
Well, it sounds like you'd be a good troll.
We got lots of trolls.
I mean,
man.
I think it takes a certain personality to be a troll, and it is what it is. I mean, if that's your personality, then you can, have at it.
You know what though? I wouldn't do.
I'm going back to this literally strikes a very big nerve with me though. It's just it is, and it may be because of life experiences and whatever else. It's just I feel like you just take every opportunity to lift someone up and not tear them down, and that is just you can make fun of that all you want, but I just do not feel like being this negative whatever else personality on Twitter, on whatever else, behind a veil of some avatar or whatever else is just the most classless, the most God, what's the word I'm looking for?
Nutless.
Nutless.
Yeah, I mean,
gutless. It drives me up the wall. We put ourselves out there every single day, every single week with what we do and who gives a crap that it's free? Whatever. But the fact that there are people out there that just hate on that and people's effort, they don't know what effort we put into God, this is just a rant we don't need to get in right now. But
let's get in it. We're an hour and 40 minutes into this. If anybody's listening at this point, they actually care anyway. I'm with you, man. Like, we have trolls. All of a sudden, we got trolls at 10,000 followers. It was weird. We have like 15 now. Like, at 10,000 followers, we started getting trolls. And these guys, what kills me the most is the guys who are anonymous. Your Saul Goodman dickholes. Like, the guys who are afraid to be themselves, to put their own
not one
picture.
Single picture of them on
not one
anywhere.
Picture, dude. What a just word you are.
Don't even know the location. Hey, guess what? I'm in Savannah, Georgia. You could probably look at my
address. My address is all over the damn chalk bomb. You can send me some mail. You can show up at my house, and I will pop a cap in you. But like the Twitter trolls,
it's just freaking ridiculous. It just drives me up the wall.
And then
but
like
you know
these
what?
guys that troll us because we have a bad week or because the chalk bomb hits, I'm like, dude, this is freaking golf gambling. Like, I don't care if podcast X is on the heater of the century. 6 months from now, they will be.
It ain't gonna be that way.
It ain't gonna be that way, man. It's freaking golf. Like, that's why we know that if we make it entertaining. At minimum, if we make it entertaining, you will keep coming back. The picks may suck. You may play all of our fades and fade all of our plays and come out on top. Congratulations. But if you think somebody's got some magical formula to betting golf, you've lost your damn mind. And then for you to troll us because the chalk bomb, which is the freaking chalk bomb for a reason, motherfucker. It's a chalk bomb for a reason. I'm not giving you damn Fabian Gomez. Let's fade Fabian Gomez at $6,300 at 0.3% ownership. No shit. Like, I'm not giving you that. I'm giving you a top owned guy who's top owned for a reason. Because he checks boxes, because he's got good history here, because he's playing good, because he's a stud, right? That's why we're giving him to you as a chalk bomb. We're just saying here are 10 reasons that this guy may be worth avoiding. And we got people who freaking chirp us because the dude finishes 12th. Like, stab me in the eyeball with this pen right now.
The one thing I'll say that you and I give every week is we give our hearts to this podcast. We do this show. We put in our research. We take the trolls with whatever they are. And, so if you don't, if you just want to be a troll, that's fine. I don't care. But at least respect the grind that's been.
Dude, there are freaking 11 podcasts that do what we do. And you are welcome to go listen to any of them. All right? You're welcome to go listen to any of them. You're welcome to subscribe and go through the paywall to any of them you want. Good luck, homie. But here's what I'll tell you. Every Monday, I'm going to start with Monday. I'm going to end on this, mother. Every Monday, I spend 4 hours researching, writing up the show rundown, prepping for this crap. And for 4 years in a row, I have left my family, my wife and kids, at 8:30 every night p.m. Eastern, to walk upstairs and disappear till midnight because I'm recording this show. I'm doing videos for DraftKings. I'm editing this crap. I am putting my heart and soul into this. Now, do I enjoy it? Of course I enjoy it. But
we love it. We love it.
That's just Monday. That's just Monday. Tuesday in the morning, I'm adding to Roto Grinders stuff. Pat's adding to Roto Grinders stuff. Pat's writing the FGS article that is free. I'm maintaining our website. Pat is shipping merch. All right. Let's see what else. I'm continuing to research. Then comes Wednesday. All right. I'm fixing all Pat's errors from the FGS article. Pat's hopping on the Roto Grinders chat room for an hour during the evening away from his family. All right. Not counting any of the Twitter, Instagram, listening to press conferences from freaking Bryson DeChambeau I got to listen to, which I want to shoot myself in the head with that. That's on Wednesday, all right? and then the interviews we line up, all this freaking stuff, man. Give me a freaking break coming at me anonymously. If you want to hate on me for being arrogant and being from the South or whatever judgments you think you know of me, that's one thing, man. But damn, if you come at me anonymously like a freaking, if you want to come at me like that, you know what I mean? Like, after all I put into this for 4 years, we're not some startup fly-by-night, oh, everybody's doing the DFS podcast thing, let me hop in. We've been doing this shit for 4 years. You'll come at me anonymously like a coward. God, dog, it just pisses me off.
Coward. That's the word I was looking for.
Gee, a freaking coward. That's enough of the Tour Junkies podcast. I freaking love you guys. The guys that love us.
By the way, yeah, we love doing this. We love the listeners.
Man.
You know what? Sometimes we got to do a little rant about, because you can't just take it forever and not actually answer for yourselves. And so we're going to do that sometimes.
And we take it, dude.
But if you don't like it, fine. I don't care.
Yeah. We take it a lot. Like, we don't comment a lot. We've never blocked anybody. We don't block people on Twitter. You know how many people I'd love to block right now? We don't block people on Twitter. I'm like, dude, if you just, whatever. Like, I'm not going to block you. But, like, dang. We appreciate the people who chime in and tell us they appreciate it. They appreciate the time. Listen, we're nothing special. We really aren't. We just put time to this. It is what it is. Like, geez. Like, but we appreciate you guys. If you like us, leave an iTunes review and tell somebody else about it. That's what you can do. Thank you, guys. Thanks for listening. May your screens be green. I got to figure out what I'm doing. See ya! Out! Said way more than I wanted to say. Okay.
I didn't realize it was going to go there, but I'm kind of glad it did.